everyone, and okay, so welcome to Hack the Beat. So today we're going to be looking at the protocols and servers to TryHackMe Premium Room, and we're going to learn about attack against password and cleartext traffic, and explore options for mitigation via SSH and SSL and TLS. So let's go ahead and see what we have right here, and let's start with the first introduction, task one, and so we can go ahead at this point and start up our attack box and also start the machine so we can have access to our targets and to enable us carry out the task properly. So let's go ahead with this, and what do we have here? Okay, so let me just go ahead and see if I can zoom this a little bit for better clarification in the view. Okay, nice. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, so the protocols and servers room covered many protocols. The tenors, the H, TTP, and the FTP, and the SMPT, and the POP3, and the IMAP. And we all know the standard what we use to connect users. This thing connecting to other target system. You all know that, all of that. So we have already walked through that before now. So servers implementing those protocols are just two different kinds of attack. To name a few, consider the signaling attack, network packet capture, and two are man in the middle, the MITM attack, and password attack, and authentication attack, and vulnerability. So let's go ahead and see what we have got right here. Okay, from a security perspective, we always need to think about what we aim to protect. Consider the security triad: confidentiality and integrity and availability. It's very important. The CIA. Confidentiality refers to keeping the content of the communication accessible to the intended party. Integrity is the idea of ensuring any data sent is accurate, consistent, and complete when reaching its destination. Finally, availability refers to being able to access the service when we need it. Different parties will put varying emphasis on this tree. For instance, confidentiality would be the highest priority for an intelligence agent. Online banking will put more emphasis on the integrity of transaction, and availability is of the highest importance for any platform making money by serving aids. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we've got right here. All right, so knowing that we are protecting the confidentiality and integrity and availability, the CIA and an attack aims to cause disclosure. Okay, alteration and disruption. Okay, here we have the DAD. Okay, the figures below reflect this. Okay, this right here, this is still example of what we're talking about: the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And this is the easy illustration of what this place is talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead, moving on. And okay, this attack directly affects the security of the system. For instance, network packet capture violates confidentiality and leads to a disclosure of information. A successful password attack can also lead to a disclosure. On the other hand, a man in the middle attack breaks the system integrity as it can alter the communicator data. Okay, we will focus on these three attacks in this room, as this attack are integral to protocol design and the server implementation. Okay, and vulnerability of the broader spectrum and exploited vulnerability have different impact on the target system. For instance, exploiting a diner of servers and the DOS vulnerability can affect the system availability while exploiting a remote code execution. And vulnerability can lead to more severe damage. It is important to know that vulnerability by itself, okay, creates a risk, Damage can occur only when the vulnerability is exploited. We don't cover vulnerability in this room as they have their own model. Okay, you can go ahead and check this vulnerability research and get more understanding about it. Okay, and this room will focus on how a protocol can be upgraded or replaced to or protect against disclosure and alteration. Okay, and they're protecting their confidentiality and integrity of the transmitted data. We will be recommending other module that covers traditional topics. Moreover, they introduce Hydra to find weak password. Hydra is one of the important aspects in pen testing and in cybersecurity because it's a strong tool that you can use to crack password. And that is why it's important that you learn how to make your password more important, and it's also important that you learn how to a good password. Just have a good password and don't have a weak password like 123 or just write a name. It's pretty easy for Hydra to break into simple passwords. Okay, so let's go ahead and check it and move to the next that we've got right here. We can move to task 2. So let's go ahead and move to task 2. Okay, so what do we have in task 2 right here? Okay, all right, the Sniffing attack. Sniffing attack refers to it refers to using a network packet capture tools to collect information about a target. And when a protocol communicates in context in cleartext, the data exchange can be captured by a third party to analyze a simple network packet. Okay, capture can reveal information such as the content of private message and login credential if the data is encrypted in transit. Okay, a shifting attack can be conducted using an internet and look at the number and network card provides provided that the user has proper permission, root permissions on Linux and administrator privileges on the MS window. There are many programs available to capture network packets. We consider the following. We're going to consider the TCP dump. It is free open source command line interface, and we have the Wireshark. It is a free open source graphical user interface and a program available to several operating system including the Linux and macOS and the MS window. And we have the TR-Shark, and it is alternative to Wireshark alternative. And there are several specialized tools for capturing passwords and even complete messages. However, this can still be achieved by TCP dump and Wireshark with some added effort. So let's go ahead and see what we've got right here. Consider the user checking his email messages using the POP3. First, we are going to use the TCP dump to attempt to capture the username and the password. In the terminal output below, we use the command sudo and TCP port 110 and dash capital letter A. Before explaining this command, we should mention that this attack requires access to the network traffic. For example, via a word tape or a switch with port mirroring. And alternatively, we can access the traffic exchange if we launch a successful man in the middle attack. So let's go ahead and we need a sudo as packet capture require root privilege. We wanted to limit the number of capture and display packets to those exchange with the POP3 server. We know that the POP3 user support 110, and so we filtered our packet using the port 110. Finally, we wanted to display the contents of the capture packets in this and format. We added -a, and if you look at it right here, we go ahead on the terminal and you open this and you copy this. We've got right here, we copy this and run it the way it is exactly in your terminal. You will get this output, and this is what we're talking about. So let's go ahead and see more of that. In the terminal output above, we have removed the important packets to help you better focus on the words that matters. In a particular, the username and the password where each is sent in their own packets. The first packet explicitly display user frank, while the last packet to reverse the password right here. So we could also use Wireshark to achieve the same result. In the Wireshark window below, we can see that we have entered the port in the filter field. Now that we have our filter just the traffic we are interested in, we can see our username and the password were captured. They were captured right here. You can see the illustration right here in the Wireshark output, and that is very easy for understanding and clarification. In a brief, and any protocol that uses or cleartext communication is susceptible to this kind of attack. The only requirement for for this attack to succeed is to have the access to a system between the two communicating systems. This attack requires attention. The mitigation lies in adding an encryption layer on top of any network protocol. In particular, transport layer security TLS has been added to HTTP, FTP, and more. Look at it right here, and many others for remote access. Tenant has been replaced by the secure alternative secure shell SSL. And if you would like to learn more about Wireshark, we recommend the Wireshark One Model 101 room for you to have more better understanding of that. We recommend that. And let's go ahead and see what we've got right here, and let's head straight to the question. What do you need to add to the command sudo TCP to capture only tenant traffic? And what do you need to do that? Okay. What do you need to do that? That is part. All right, that is part 23. Part 23. That is what you need. Let's check it out. Oh, is that correct? Yes, beautiful. All right, moving on. What is the simplest display filter you can use with Wireshark to show only IMP? And I guess you just have to repeat the same thing. It's not the same. Okay, RMAP, and you can hit check. Let's see what we got right there. Okay, and there looks like okay. Wow. All right, task 3. Let's talk about the man in the middle attack. So what do we have there? The man in the middle attack. Okay, let's go ahead and go through it. And man in the middle. Okay. A man in the middle attack occurs when a victim or believers that they are communicating with a legitimate destination B, but it is unknowingly communicating with the attacker. In the figure below, we have requesting the transfer of $20 to however, he altered this message and replaced the original value with a new one. We received the modified message and acted on it. You can see right here, this diagram right here, and this is it, and this is the transfer, and this transfer like this. Get it? Okay. Sweet. Okay, and this attack is relatively simple to carry out if the two parties do not confirm the authenticity and the integrity of each message. In some cases, the choosing protocol does not provide secure authentication or integrity checking. Moreover, some protocols have inherent insecurity that makes them susceptible to this kind of attack. And anytime you browse over the HTTP, you are susceptible to the MITM attack. And the scary thing is that you cannot recognize it. Many tools would aid you in carrying out such an attack, such as the intercept and the beta cap. And this one can also affect other cleartext protocols such as the FTP. And more now, you can see that we've got the explanation right here, and it's very important you go through it and understand it. And it does because it's the solution lies in the proper authentication along with the encryption or signing of the exchange messages. With the help of the public key infrastructure and the trusted root certificate, transport layer security, the TLS protect from the MITM attack. So let's head straight to the question and see what we've got right here. How many different interface does intercept offer? Okay, that's 3. Just go ahead and hit 3, and after that you hit check, and let's see what you've got right here. And the next question: in how many ways can you invoke the the beta carp. The beta carp, in how many ways can you invoke that? I guess that is 3, but I'm not too sure. But let's just go ahead and hit 3 and see if it's going to work out. Oh, that is correct. And let's check this one out also. Okay, so let's head straight to our task 4. Okay, transport layer security. Let's head it up, no time, and let's go straight and see what we've got right here. Oh, what is happening here? Let's check out task 3. It should go. Okay, so let's start. Okay, now task 4. Task 4. Okay, transport layer security, the TLRs. In this task, we learn about a standard solution to protect the confidentiality and the integrity of the exchange packets. The following approach can protect against password shifting and the MITM attack. SSL, secure socket layer, started when the World Wide Web started to see new applications such as online shopping and sending payment information, NetCarp, and introduced SSL in 1994, with SSL and 3.0 being released in 1968 in 1996, but eventually more security was needed, and the TLS transport layer security protocol was introduced in 1999. Before we explain what SSL what the TLS and the SSL provide, let's see how they fit the network model. The common protocol we have covered so far send the data in a clusters. Okay, this makes it possible for anyone with access to the network to capture, save, and analyze their exchange message. The image below shows the ISO and the OSI network layer. Okay, and the protocol we have covered so far in this room are the application layer. Okay, consider the ISO and OSI model. We can add encryption to our protocol via the presentation layer. Consequently, data will be presented in an encrypted format and delivered instead of its original context. And this is the diagram right here. You can see that we have application layer, presentation layer, section layer, and transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and the physical layer. And that is the arrangement right there. So because of the close relation between the SSL and the TLS, one might use instead of the other. However, the TLS is more secure than the SSL, and it has a particular replace SSL. We could have dropped SSL and just reading the TLS instead of the SSL and the TLS, but we will continue to mention the two to avoid any obligated, and because the team's SSL is still in wide use. However, we can expect all modern servers to be using the TLS. Okay, under 16 cleartext protocol can be upgraded to their encryption via SSL and TLRs. We can use TLRs to upgrade the HTTP. Okay, and look at it right here. That's what it means. And to rename a few, the following table released the protocols we have covered and their default ports, and before and after the encryption upgrade via SSL and the TLRs. The list is not exhaustive, but however, the purpose is to help us better understand the process. Look at it right here. The protocol and the default port and the secure protocol and the default port with this right here is good. You take your time and go through it for more clarification. Okay, now considering the case of the HTTP, initially to retrieve a web page over the HTTP, the web browser would need to at least perform the following two steps. Okay, establish and also send the HTTP request. You can establish TCP connection, and this you have to use this get and post. It's very easy. And the HTTPs and requires an additional steps to encrypt the traffic. Okay, and the new steps takes place after establishing a TCP connection and before sending the HTTP and request. This extra step can be interfered from the ISO and the OSI model in the image presented earlier. Okay, consequently, the HTTP require at least the following three steps. Okay, the established TCP connection and the established SSL and the TLS connection, and the third one is the send the HTTP request to the web server. Establish. Look at it right here, and this is like here. This is like the diagram sending it hello, and it's okay responding to it and reacting to it step by step. Okay, after establishing a TCP connection with a server, the client establishes an SSL and the TLS connection. As shown in the figure below, both the term might look okay complicated depending on your knowledge of and cryptography. Okay, did I pronounce that well? But okay, you can help me pronounce that in the comment section. But we can simplify the four steps as the client send a client hello to the server to to indicate its capabilities such as support algorithm, and the server responded with hello hello, indicating the selected connection parameters. The server provide its certificate if server authentication is required. This certificate is a digital file to identify. You take your time and go through that. And if the still sounds sophisticated, don't worry. We only need the gist of it. A client was able to agree on a secret key with a server that has a public certificate. This secret way was securely generated so that a third party monitoring the channel wouldn't be able to discover it. Further communication between the client and the server will be encrypted using the generated key. Okay, consequently, once an SSL and the TLS handshake has been established, the HTTP requires an exchange data won't be accessible to anyone watching the communication channel. As a final note for SSH to be effective, especially when browsing the web over HTTPS, we really rely on public certificates signed by the certificate authorized and authorities trusted by our system. In other words, when we browse to TryHackMe, when we browse to TryHackMe over the HTTPS, our browser expect the TryHackMe web server to provide a signed certificate from a trusted certificate authority. As part of the example below, this way our browser ensures that it is communicating with the correct server, and a MITM attack cannot occur. Look at it right here. All right, in the figure above, we can see the following information, and we can see the following information above. We can see to whom the certificate is used and who issued the certificate, and the validity period is very important. Okay. Luckily, we don't have to check the certificate manually for every site we visit. Our web browser will do it for us. Our web browser will ensure that we are taken with the correct server and ensure that our communication is secure and secure thanks to the server certificate. Wow. Head straight to the question. DNS can also be secured using the TLR. What is the three-letter acronym of the DNS protocol that uses the TLR? Okay, it just starts for, I think that is very easy. That is the dart. It is the dart, DD or and the T. So go ahead and hit a check and see. Let's get that if that's correct. No problem. Okay. And all right, in case you are not following my YouTube channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and drop in the comment section what you feel about this video. And so it will encourage me to do more and to do more. And I like to see people happy, and I love teaching people about this thing, helping people. I know what it's like. Okay, let's head straight to task 5 and the secure shell SSH. Secure shell SSH, and also have right here. Okay, all right. So secure shell SSH was created to provide a secure way for remote system administration. In other words, it lets you securely connect to another system over the network and execute command on the remote system Put simply, the S in SSH stand for secure, which can be summarized simply as you can confirm the identity of the remote server. Exchange messages are encrypted and can only be decrypted by the internet recipient. Both sides can detect any modification in the message. All right, the above 3 points are ensured by cryptography in a more technical term. They are part of the confidentiality and integrity, made possible through the proper use of a different encryption algorithm. And to use SSH, you need an SSH server and SSH client. The SSH server listed on the port 22 by default, and the SSH client can authenticate using a username and a password, a private and a public key. After the SSH server is configured to recognize the corresponding public key. Okay, on Linux, macOS, and the MS Windows built after 2018, you can connect to an SSH server using the following command: SSH. Look at the command right here. You can go ahead and just type this in your attack box. Just copy it from here, and oh, I am not lazy, but looks like my Linux is a little bit is flaky and is kind of slowing down. If not, but if you are watching the video now, all you have to do is to just go ahead and copy and practicalize this. Copy this with the IP address and just paste in your attack box to enable you get the next step properly. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we've got right here. When you do that, it will connect you automatically to this. Okay, and he will become your perfect root. In the example above, we issued the command SSH, and with this, then once we enter the correct password, we got access to the remote system. Terminal SSH is very reliable for remote administration because our username and password were sent encrypted. Moreover, all command we execute on the remote system will be sent over an encrypted channel. Okay, know that if this is the first time we connect to the system, we will need to confirm the fingerprint of the SSH server public key to avoid man in the middle. Okay, the attack and explained earlier, MITM takes place when a malicious party so that itself between A and B and communicate with A pretending to be B and communicate with a B pretending to be A, while A and B thinks that they are communicating directly with each other. In this case, SSH, we don't usually have a third party to check if the public key is valid. So we need to do this manually. This attack is shown in the image below. This is the practical of what this explanation is talking about. This is an illustration, and it's very easy. You can see that the pretense right here in the communication in the communicating right here. You can see the hello, and a lot of pretense right here. So you need to take your time and understand that better. And we can use SSH to transfer files using the the SCP secure copy protocol, and based on the SSH protocol, an example of the syntax is as follows. You can go ahead and we'll copy the file name and do that in your terminal. So moving on, as a closing note, and FTP could be secured using the SSH and the TLS by using the FTPS protocol, which use port 990, and it's worth monitoring that FTP can also be secured using the SSH protocol, which is the SFTP protocol by default. This service listed on port 22, just like the SSH. So moving on, let's head straight to the question, and let's have what we've got right here. Use SSH to connect to this IP address as marked with the password. Look at the password user, and you already have here. So if I were you, you would like to go ahead to your Linux, go to your attack bus, and I don't know what is wrong with my attack bus. It's a little bit flaky and it's just too slow. It's not working a little bit. Oh my god. Okay, but it's very easy. All you have to do is to go ahead and copy the username -r in your attack box and click enter. When you click enter, you will get what we are looking for, and you will get your answer right here. And all you have to do is to go ahead and type in your answer right here in the space given here. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but let's just try it and see. Here we have a general. generic. Let's see if it's gonna work out. Not too sure. Oh, voila, that works. Okay, let's move to the next one. Use SSH or use SSH to download the file book.text from the remote system. How many KB did the SCP display as download size? Let's download size. Let's go ahead and do that. And when you check that properly, you will notice that we have a 415. Let's hit check and see if that is correct. Oh, beautiful, that's correct. So let's head straight to taxis password attack, and let's head straight to see what we've got right here. Password attack. Okay, we discussed network packet capture and M. Okay, and we also discussed about the MITM attack, and as well as how this attack can be mitigated using the TLS and the SSH. The third type of attack that we cover in this room is a password attack. Many protocols require you to authenticate, and authentication is providing who you claim to be. That is authentication, providing that this is me, and I am valid, and this is who I am, and it is you have to believe me. It's a way of proving yourself that this is the right person. This is my information. So you need some authentication to provide it. You need to provide authentication sometime to identify who you really are, and it's so important. Okay, and when using our protocol such as the POP3, we should not be giving access to the mailbox before verifying our identity. The POP3 example for the protocol and server room is repeated below for your convenience. In example, we identify as the user Frank, and the server authenticated us because we provided the correct password. In other words, the password is one way to authentication. Look at it right here. If you go ahead and click this tenant, and you will connect directly to the IP to the target IP address or machine. Okay, authentication or providing or proving your identity, just like I said earlier before, proving your identity and can be achieved through one of the following or a combination of two. Something you know, such as password and PIN code, or something you have, and such as SIM card or card and all of that, and or something you are, such as fingerprint, and sometimes your fingerprint, all of that. And this task will focus on attack against password. Something the target knows if you revisit the communication with several previous service, and using the protocol such as the tenant, the SSH, and the POP3, and the IMAP, we always need a password to gain access. Based on the 150 million username and their password linked from the hardware breach in 2013, and the top 10 password are, and these are weak password that is very easy for Hydra to break into and to quickly break through this password. It's a very simple password. Okay, only two passwords are related to hardware and its product, and but the rest are generic, and you might think that this has changed over the past decade. However, once you really look at this weak password, they are still common choice for many users. So that is why it's so important that you have to be very careful in cybersecurity, and make sure that when you have to make use of a password, don't use password like this. These passwords are very easy for hackers to break through using the tools Hydra. Yeah, and we have a lot of tools that you can use to break into our password. For example, using the password 12345 is wrong. Using password like 1234567 is wrong. Using password like hello, I love you, hello, no, they are wrong. It can be easily compromised. Okay, so let's go right and see what we've got right here. Attack against password are usually carried out by. Okay, you can take your time and go through that. That is so easy, and you will understand that. And go ahead and in your Linux attack box, go ahead and type this and copy this right here. I have on my screen on this, and go ahead and write it, and you will get the next answer. Okay, so my Linux, sorry about that. My Linux attack box is a little bit flaky today, so use your Hydra to do that, and you will get it. If you do it correctly, you should expect a simple answer. So let's head straight to the question, and we learned that one of the email account is laser, and what is the password used to access the IMAP service on those IP address. So you are about to break into that, and before now I already recorded this and I've gotten the answer. But if you go ahead and run it correctly, you should get the right answer. And what you will get is what? Butterfly, 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 butterfly. And go ahead and click check, and let's see if that is correct. Whoa, voila, that is correct. So let's head straight to the last task. Task 7 summary. In this room, we cover the various protocol, okay, their usage and how they work, and on that the hood. Three common attacks are Sniffing attack and the MITM attack and the password attack. For each of these above, we focus both on the attack details and the mitigation steps. Many other attacks can be conducted against specific server and the protocol. We will provide a list of some related murder. Vulnerability room, go ahead and check in the Metasploit and the brute force. It's very important. The brute suit, and it's very important. And look at it right here. Just take your time and go through that. And this is it. And the options, the Hydra remains a very efficient tool that you can launch. You can launch from the terminal to try the different password. We summarize its mainly option in the following way. If I were you, there's no how you learn this thing without practicalizing it. So I suggest you go ahead and practice save here on TryHackMe, and don't try to scan a network or break into a network you do not have authorization. You don't have authorization to any network or any machine. Do not try to use this Hydra to break the password. Okay, so practice save. Come to here. Just come to your attack burst and use your Hydra tools and try to break into that, and practice that in real life is very important. And thank you so much. Let's head straight to the question. Okay, by now you have completed this, and here you don't have to answer the question. All you have to do is to click check. And if you're not following my YouTube channel, head straight click the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you have a make sure you have a good day, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great time. Okay, voila, bye bye.